Okay, my Caspian build is complete. There she is. Turned out gorgeous. 1911s are eye candy if nothing else. But this one functions really well, and I'm planning on making this one of my carry guns. It turned out really beyond my expectations, and considering the money that I have in it, that's a good thing. Really, you know, I'm not trying to brag myself up, but for a first attempt, you know, I spent a lot of hours on it, a lot of time, a lot of money, but it turned out really, really well, and I couldn't be happier. So if you think you can handle a project like this, it's pricey, but you know, it extends the, you know, if you go out and buy a gun, it's exciting, you know, for that day, and it's exciting for that week when you break it in, but after that it's like, yeah, you just bought it. But this took 10 weeks to get the frame and slide, so you know, I had a lot of time to think about it, a lot of time to plan, all the working, all the selecting each individual part that I wanted to put on it. So this project really has, you know, extended that fun, you know, new stuff feeling that, you know, at least I get for quite a long time. And since I built it, I kind of have a personal connection with this particular 1911, you know, beyond my store-bought ones. So that makes it more valuable to me, just because I put a lot of sweat into it. I hope you enjoyed my video series, and let's take a closer look at it. Okay, there's the finished product. Cerakoted, and it turned out really good, really gorgeous. I've got VZ grips on it, which are textured nice. These are the double diamonds I got to cut out for the magazine release. I've got the 10.8 Performance magazine release, which is beveled, so it's at an angle, which is sweet. I got an EGW safety. It's fairly wide. I got it wide so I could cut it down, but I really like the way it works. It's got a nice angle to it, so when you have a firing grip, my thumb sits on there very nicely. I've got a Ken sight, adjustable sight on the back, and I've got a Trigon night sight in the front with the tritium element that's surrounded by a white dot, so it'll really pop day or night. I decided to get front serrations and the bowl cut from Caspian. I like front serrations. A lot of guys hate them, but hey, this gun was custom built for me, so I like everything about it. I decided to get a solid trigger instead of the more traditional one with the holes that's, you know, come to be pretty standard fare anymore. This frame features a integral plunger tube, so that's actually not a separate part. It's actually machined into the frame, which is very cool. It also has a built-in magazine well, which is pretty sweet. This is what Caspian calls diamond plate, which in their catalog they say is more decorative than functional. I think it's pretty functional. It's actually pretty sharp on the front. It's sharper than I had expected. Now on a 1911, it's the little things. You know, a lot of 1911s, when you look at the back side of the mag release, you'll see won't be flush with the frame, or you'll have a large gap in this area here. And you can see that 10.8 Performance mated with this Caspian frame. It fits in there perfectly. I mean, I had to fit that to get it to go in there. So that's one of those things that, you know, that's what you're paying for when you're spending this kind of money. And is it worth it? Well, that's up to, you know, the end user, but, you know, that's one of the touches. One of the touches I got from Caspian is a beveled edge all around the muzzle, all around the bottom of the slide, and around the back, which is a really nice touch. I've got a cylinder and slide extractor. I've got an EGW extended ejector. I've got, you can't see it, but I've got a titanium strut, titanium firing pin, and a titanium mainspring plug in the mainspring housing. she is there. She just locks up tight, shoots well. I did a pretty good job of building it. I made a few errors. My rear sight does not fit as well as I'd like. It fits in there, it's working, but I had to remove so much material. I could have used some different files and maybe found a better technique, because that's you can't see it. You know, it's something you wouldn't see unless you really look, but I know it's there. I already spoke about how I didn't have enough sticking out of the end here on the cylinder and slide ejector, or extractor I should say, and I couldn't make it perfectly flush, but I decided to run with it. It's pretty darn close. I've got the EGW oversized firing pin stop, which actually took a lot of fitting, but you know, that's what keeps your extractor from clocking and retains your firing pin and all that good stuff. So it's an important part, even though it's small and, you know, kind of not very dramatic. You can see here when I fit the back end of the ejector, I took just a little bit too much right there, but it's really small and hard to see. So all in all, if I was to pick this gun up in a gun shop and they wanted $2,000 for it, which is what I've got in it, I think I'd say, yeah, that's comparable to any other $2,000 gun out there. Okay, on the internal parts, I've got an Ed Brown Commander length barrel with bushing. It was a drop-in fit. Turned out not to be so much a drop-in fit. I actually had to fit it, but that was okay. I didn't have to ream the chamber. So it fits well and it shoots good, so I'm happy with it. But there's that Ed Brown. I've got the Ed Brown spring guide to go with it. Wilson spring guide, which is cut here, which is nice. It's got the cut for the link pin, and it's beveled, which is a nice touch. The spring is actually a Wolf 20-pound spring. The magazines I've been using are Chip McCormick Power Mags. It's what I use when I fit the gun, so they're working well. My slide release is a 10-8 Performance, 2nd generation. It's a nice part, works well. The fire control kit I used was a cylinder and slide Tactical 2, which is supposed to give a 4-pound pull. It came with the hammer, sear, disconnector, sear spring, and the mainspring. The thing I like about this hammer, if you can see it, it's the little things on a 1911. It's beveled all the way around in here, all around the outside, so it's really a smooth, snag-free design. And it really looks good. And it came that way from cylinder and slide, so I didn't have to do it, so that was kind of cool. Okay, there's the average trigger pull. 3 pounds, 8.7 ounces. It's billed to be a 4-pound trigger. In the catalog, it's the cylinder and slide Tactical 2 stainless steel. All those parts just dropped in, so you know that's an upgrade where you're going to get a 3.8 ounce trigger pull. It's a touch light. I was kind of looking for 4 pounds, but it's doable. You guys are familiar with the Nighthawk magazines that they're putting out now. Very much like a Wilson Combat. They have the polymer follower, stainless steel tube. They're numbered. I just got this one. I haven't fired it yet. Here's a Wilson Combat to compare it with. I actually like the looks of the Nighthawk better. One thing I noticed that was kind of a big difference is you can see the feed lips. This is the Wilson, This is the Nighthawk. The Nighthawk's controlling the round longer than the Wilson. So hopefully this magazine's going to work. I'll show you what stemmed my purchase. Okay, one thing I found when I was buying magazines, I started with the Power Mag from Chip McCormick, and you can see my slide release is going all the way up into the groove there for it to hold the slide back, which is what you want. That's the way it's supposed to work. I then tried a Wilson Combat. Also worked. These all function well, by the way. And you can see I'm not getting the lift on the slide release that the other mags have given me. And I thought that might cause the end of the slide to get peened, so okay, I'm not going to use Wilson Combat magazines in this. So I was thinking, well, what other magazines can I buy? And I happened to be buying the magazines for this, the Chip McCormick's, and I saw the Nighthawk magazine. Now the Nighthawk magazine, very Wilson Combat-like, and it gives me that full lockup I get from the Chip McCormick. So I'm kind of looking forward to see if this Nighthawk runs well and how it holds up. They're a little bit more money. I think I paid $28.95 for the Nighthawk versus $25 for the Chip McCormick. But it's a nice mag, and hopefully it'll run. I don't know why, you know, it's not lifting all the way with the Wilsons, but 1911s, everything needs to be fit. It's all fine and good to say, wow, you spent $2,000, you built your gun, and you say it's good, but how good is it? What do we compare it to? Well, what I compared it to is this Nighthawk Custom. Okay, not a cheap gun if you've been into the gun shops. This is one of my carry guns. It's a nice gun. So I wanted to test the accuracy. So let's take a look at that. I wasn't shooting that well that day with either gun, but I think the Nighthawk edged out my Caspian. Let's take a look at it. This is the Nighthawk, and I believe I shot these at 7 yards. And this is the Caspian at 7 yards. These rounds are from a 15-yard group. This one too, that I was just going crazy on. I shouldn't have ruined this target with it, but ignore that. But these are to give you an idea of the two guns. So they are close, but I got to give the accuracy department to the Nighthawk. I'm going to try this again, and maybe I'll post another target, since I'm more used to the Nighthawk than I am to the Caspian right now. Let's take a look at a 15-yard target. There's a 15-yarder. This is the Nighthawk. That's the Caspian. These are just shot freehand, you know, at the range. You know, I'm not a world championship shooter, which is why I was, you know, showing you the difference between the two guns so you can make a decision, you know, between the shooter and the gun. You know, we're talking a Nighthawk Custom against a gun that I built, and you can see that, you know, I'm shooting a good pattern there. I got a couple flyers in here, but, you know, these are all in the score ring. Those are not. So I got to say that the Nighthawk is probably fit a little bit better than mine, but it should be. You know, they're the professional guys, and that gun costs more than $2,000. Of course, you're paying for the labor. But anyway, I wish I was a better shot so I could show you, you know, a real tiny group there just blowing the center out, but, you know, it is what it is. There we go. But you know, I gotta say, my gun's a lot prettier than the Nighthawk. If you like that sort of thing. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys got something out of this series of videos.